With global instability on the rise, are you less likely to travel abroad?
People have asked us to go on trips with them this year and overseas in Europe and that, and just with everything, the chaos in the world, not interested. We have a new grandson, so we'd rather stick close to home. We love to travel in Ontario when we do that quite a bit in the summer and the falls.
I think we'll be more selective in and travel with groups more than individual. But no, I think it's important to understand the global impact and the beautiful world that's out there.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I agree. It's not going to slow us down, but we will be selective and careful where we go. But we won't stop us from traveling, that's for sure.
No.
Why?
Because I'm not going in that direction particularly, and frankly, there's always a risk no matter where you go. You're out on the highway, there's a risk. If you're traveling to the U.S., there's risk. I don't plan to go to a war zone, so I'll take my chances.
I wouldn't be going to the Middle East. But yeah, that you got to be conscious of that to a degree. But you can't live in your basement. You gotta take some risks in life.
No, I'd still travel. Sorry, I gotta say, because I love traveling and I think it's good and healthy.
It does. I don't think that the level of instability in the world right now dissuades me any more than it would have 10 or 20 years ago. But then the places that I would probably choose to travel to have generally been pretty stable then and now anyway.
So that's a consideration if you were...
Absolutely, it's a consideration.
Yes, definitely. There's so much going on. There's just so much going on, I think financially, but with everything that's going on in the world right now, I don't find it's a time to travel.
It's going to be hot spots, and you just keep yourself knowledgeable. But for the most part, I don't think it would affect us too much. I mean, we traveled through COVID, we traveled through all sorts of things. But, you still have to be mindful of what's going on out there.
We always consider what is happening in a country before we visit. We've traveled quite a bit since we retired, but it's always a consideration. When we went to Africa, we chose Botswana because there's no guns on their safari drives. We wouldn't consider traveling to India or Jordan, so it's always a consideration. Even though we travel quite extensively, we research the country first.
I'm definitely not going to Israel. But I mean, any country that the West is friends with is pretty easy to travel to. England, Ireland, Australia. I mean, those are really good touristy spots. I'm not inclined to go to any Asian countries, but the violence didn't really persuade me to go there either. A lot of the hot spots are places I would have never really wanted to go to in the first place. So probably not at this time. If it expands to other countries, maybe, but we'll see.
Well, I like to travel, so basically, I don't know, hopefully it's not going to degenerate too much, hopefully, but it doesn't look good right now, so I don't know.
No.
Nah.
Here we are.
Here we are. We're three Australians here in Canada, so we're living our best life.
We live in Canada, but yeah.
I don't, I'm visiting. So, has it affected me one iota?
But saying that, we're going to Guatemala and Mexico in 5 days, so it's not affecting us in the slightest.
No. I think instability is regional in most cases. So there are still a lot of places on the planet that are still stable. So no, I think I will still travel.
I don't think so. I think that knowing that I live in Canada and knowing that Canada is my home and I can come back to my home in Canada and feel stable, I think that I'm okay, and I always have wanted to travel abroad, and I know that I will at some point. And I think that knowing that I'm from Canada gives me a little more security in that, and makes me feel a little more safe in doing so.
I think I'm gonna still study abroad.
Yeah. You just gotta. Yeah, I don't know.
Just choose where you're going carefully. Be cautious. Check the list of countries that are unadvised by the government, and just stay mindful when you're there of what's going on in the neighboring countries. Like, don't be a lack of empathy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. The only problem with like checking the list of like countries that Canada made is that it's very like, I don't know how to explain it. It's very like Canada's point of view, and it doesn't mean that that country isn't safe to go to. So it's also to like just do research about where you're going, make sure it's safe.